Colts reveal that their starting quarterback for Game 1 is officially Daniel Jones. Lots of back and forth on this one. Dominic Miranda joins us live. He's at the Colts complex. He just heard from the head coach, Shane Steichen, about all the factors that led up to this decision. Dom, this has been the dialogue that we've been talking about all through camp. Why this decision on this day?
Well, on this day, because you want to have your starting quarterback definitely named ahead of the last preseason game. I mean, we're just a couple weeks, a little over that away from the regular season. So getting, a definitive answer on the starting quarterback position was obviously priority one. And that, like you mentioned, it will be Daniel Jones. And it won't be just for Game 1. Shane Steichen telling us just 45 minutes ago that Daniel Jones is the starting quarterback for the season. Now, a couple of reasons that led to this. The main thing is consistency when it comes to Daniel Jones. Shane Steichen saying he was consistent with the operation, checks at the line of scrimmage, getting everyone lined up correctly. Things of that nature. Daniel Jones showed a little more consistency than Anthony Richardson when it comes to that. Completion percentage was another thing that Shane Steichen mentioned, which to me is a little interesting because there wasn't much separation there, and there really wasn't much separation between these two quarterbacks throughout training camp. Nobody lit the world on fire, but in Shane Steichen's purview, Daniel Jones did enough to be named the starting quarterback for the 2025 season. He kept saying, regardless of what happens, it's on me to make the best decision for the 2025 Indianapolis Colts. Now, for Anthony Richardson, Shane Steichen saying that it just wasn't consistent enough. He's made strides in that area, he said, but there's still ways to go when it comes to that line of scrimmage stuff, picking up blitzes, making checks at the line, operationally speaking. He said that Anthony Richardson has a ways to go. And that he said he talked to both quarterbacks. They both took it well, and he said Anthony Richardson agreed he had a ways to go, and he's one play away, right? He's one play away from getting in the game, but Daniel Jones is the Indianapolis Colts starting quarterback for the 2025 season. Here's Shane Steichen with a little more information on how he came to this decision.
All right, I'll start off by letting everyone know that Daniel Jones will be our starting quarterback this season. I thought the competition in training camp was great by both of those guys. I thought they both competed really hard, and it was good to see them cheering for each other and battling the way they did. And you guys heard me talk about the consistency, and that's really what I was looking for. And really the operation at the line of scrimmage, the checks, the protection, the ball placement, the completion percentage, I think all that played a factor in it. I think Daniel did a great job doing that, and I think AR has made strides in that area, but I do feel that, he still needs to continue to develop in those areas. And I had a chance to talk to both of them this morning. They were both great. AR was great. He knows that he still needs to develop and learn in those areas, and he knows that he's one play away. Let those guys know, let the team know this morning. Team's very supportive of Daniel, but also supportive of AR and his new role, and he's got to attack it the right way, and then we'll go from there.
Shane, how long of a leash will Jones have?
Look, he's our starting quarterback for the season. I don't want to have a quick leash on that. I feel confident in his abilities.
Shane, why was it important for you to make that decision right now?
Well, I think, we got 3 weeks for our first game, and I think it's fair to the team that they know who their starting quarterback's going to be, and they get those reps this week in practice and the following week and getting into game week. So there's just clarity at that position.
Shane, how do you weigh playmaking versus the other duties of the quarterback, which you just outlined, and how did you resolve all that?
Yeah, I think consistency, operation, moving the ball, being consistent on a daily basis. I think Daniel Jones, has done that. I think, that year they went to the playoffs. He was one game away from an NFC championship game and making the right decisions. And his completion percentage, I think that keeps us on track. So that's a big part of it. Obviously, you want to see the big plays. I think Daniel Jones is capable of that as well.
Shane, why do you think you all can win with Daniel when his career record isn't good? And the last time we saw him play football for the Giants, it wasn't good.
Well, I think that he's proven that he's played good football in that 2022 season. He had a hell of a year that year. I think that was the highest completion rate in Giants franchise history that season. So he's proven to do it. I know he's had his ups and downs, but everyone's journey is different and feel confident in his abilities.
Do you think there's another level for Jones to kind of get to still?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he's going into, year 6, year 7. I think, guys continue to grow in their process with everything, and I think the guys have taken to him. He's a great communicator with the guys. You can see that veteran presence out there, so excited for that.
That consistency operationally that you referenced,
I mean, I think it was close. I think, Daniel was ahead of him there. Like I said, I think there's still room for, AR to grow. I mean, he's 23 years old. He's still learning, still growing. And for the first time in his career, this is an opportunity for him to sit at the start of the season and learn in a different light, and attack it the right way.
Shane, is that Baltimore play where Anthony got sacked on? Is that a play where you need to grow from him?
Yeah, that's not the deciding factor, but that's one of those things where you got to learn and grow from that, and then we go from there.
What do the next 3 weeks look like for Daniel now?
Well, coming up, obviously, with the preseason game, the starters aren't going to play in this game. Daniel nor AR will play. It'll be Riley and Bean. I want to get these threes going. It's their last opportunity. We're pretty banged up right now, so I want to get these guys healthy for week one and get these guys going. But this week for him, obviously, we'll get normal. This is like a normal game week for us. He'll get all the reps, obviously, with the ones, and then next week, we got cut down day. And then we got 2 good days of practice before we have the little 3-day weekend before we start, Miami.
Just how delicate is this in terms of how you handle this with Anthony and how you explain it to him? Because you asked him to compete, he did compete, we saw practice every day.
Mm-hmm.
At minimum, it was a push. So just what was your message to him? Because he could argue he did what you asked him to do.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like I said, he handled it great. We sat down in my office this morning and talked, and I said, hey, here's the things that, you need to keep improving on. The things I hit earlier, about the consistency, and, he agreed. He's like, yeah, I got room for growth there. And I said, hey, you're one play away. And he told me the same thing. He's like, you're right, I am one play away. So I'm going to attack it the right way, knowing that if something happened to Daniel, he's got to be ready to go.
Shane, I know you said that Daniel will have a long leash, but last year when you made the switch, you had starters on the team asking for Anthony to come back, leaders on the team.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess how are you prepared to handle that, if that happens again this year?
Yeah, that's a hypothetical question. We haven't got there, but I feel confident in Daniel's ability to lead us.
Do you have any regrets about Anthony's development? You guys have had him for 2 years. This is his 3rd year. Just not growing enough in some of those consistency areas?
Yeah, I think part of that is, we threw him into the fire early as a rookie and had some injuries and, been battling some injuries. And I think that's all part of the development, of his game. I think everyone's journey's different. And for the first time, this is an opportunity for him to sit and learn. He's 23 years old. And, if his number gets called at any point in the season, I believe he'll be ready to roll.
Shane, does Anthony need more growth, you think, on the field or off?
I think he's doing a great job in both. He's a young guy. He's continued to grow and mature in every aspect of his life, and I've seen that. And I think that's only going to continue to develop.
So where does he need to grow then?
Like I said, the consistency, the line of scrimmage stuff. I think he's doing a good job with his preparation. Continue to grow in the preparation part. I think that's all a factor.
Do you get enough reps in practice to tangibly grow in those areas?
Yeah, I think so. I think you see some of these guys come in the league and they sit for a couple years. They attack it the right way. I think you got to have a growth mindset when you're in those meetings, even though you're not the guy, knowing that you're one play away and attacking the practices the right way and still preparing yourself as if you are the starter.
When you all drafted AR, it was obviously viewed as, okay, this is the future of our team. We're going to get behind this guy. For Daniel, he's on a 1-year deal. Do you view him as your future quarterback beyond just this season, or do you view him as a quarterback forever?
Well, I think let's see how the season goes. If he plays really well for us, then there's a conversation after the season.
It sounds like you're looking at this in a vacuum, like the future is not a consideration here. Is that fair to say?
Well, I think this league is a year-to-year league, and what do I feel is best for the Indianapolis Colts in 2025? And I got to make these decisions. That's what I get paid to do, and I got to go with what I feel is right.
From the outside, I think it might be hard for fans to see like the connection between stuff that sounds behind the scenes in the field. But to be clear, like when you're talking about consistency and preparation and stuff, that affects how a quarterback plays on game day, right?
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, I think AR has made strides in those areas. He's continued to develop and grow as a young player. And I think he'll continue to do that. Daniel's obviously a veteran player that's been around and sat behind Eli Manning and seen it, done the right way. So that's kind of where it's at.
Do you see a future here for Anthony as a starter? And I say that because, just quite frankly, when players are benched twice, top 10 picks, they don't usually pan out the same franchise.
Yeah, that's hard to say. Obviously, Daniel's our starter right now, and if something happened to Daniel at some point, like AR's, gets another opportunity.
You mentioned there was a lot of, you guys have had discussions leading into this decision. Which was yours, the final say? Was there much debate going into who should be the quarterback?
I'll keep all those conversations private, but I met with Carly and I met with Chris yesterday and informed over the decision. And then again, met with the team this morning and let them know. And those guys are going to be supportive of whoever's out there under center.
Shane, ever since you guys drafted Anthony, you and members of the front office really stressed patience with him. Just to be frank, when you bench him for a second time, it kind of looks on the outside like you guys have lost patience with him. Is that fair to say?
Well, I think everyone's development's different. You know what I mean? He's a young player. He's 23 years old. He's continued to mature and grow up, and I've seen strides in that, and he's going to continue to do that.
Shane, we make it Darnold, I'm sorry.
Shane, I know you don't care much about marketing at all, but are you aware, do you care, that the Colts fans, from what we could hear in the vacuum of social media, they're very, very, very much behind Richardson?
Look, I got a ton of respect for our fans. We got phenomenal fans, and they're privy to their, opinions and their thoughts, and I respect that. And at the end of the day, as the coach, I got to do what I feel is best, for the Colts this season.
When you look at Darnold and Mayfield, do you see that as a template for Daniel Jones?
Yeah, possibly. I mean, you've seen it around the league. You know what I mean? I feel confident in his abilities, to lead us. Like I said, you've seen it done in the 2022 season. He's proven to do it. And so this is another opportunity for him to do it.
Because how do you all sell Anthony on his future here when he doesn't really know when that next opportunity might come, and in theory, it won't come if Daniel Jones stays healthy?
Yeah, I think part of that is just trusting the process of saying, hey, I'm still developing and I'm growing, and I got to attack this thing the right way because I never know when my number's going to get called. And I think that's all part of it. And, you're going to go through ups and downs and adversity throughout your career, and how you handle it really speaks about the true character of who you are as a person. And I think he's only, growing in those areas.
Why do you think he hasn't been able to, develop the way you all maybe envisioned a few years ago? And what role do you think he played in maybe not getting to that point?
Yeah, I think a big part of it is, he's been injured, and I think that's part of it. And when you're not practicing and playing, it's hard to, go out there and do the things you want to do. So part of that is, staying healthy.
When you get into the season, Anthony will run the scout team.
Yes. Yeah.
Do you sense that Daniel Jones is a leader on this team from what you've seen?
Yeah, I think he's a veteran guy that's been around the block and seen a few things, and seeing how he interacts with his teammates and how they've taken to him and how he's taken to them. I think he's done a really nice job, and I think the guys are excited for his opportunity.
Shane, do you feel like this is the way you should have approached it his rookie year, given the opportunity to sit and watch?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I think, we drafted him where we drafted him for a reason, at the 4th overall pick because of the talent. And, he got thrown into the fire and, and he ended up getting injured. You know what I mean? So that's, you go back on those situations and look at it and where we were at as a football team and drafting him that high and putting him in that situation to go out and go through the lumps and the bruises of, a rookie quarterback. And then, obviously, getting injured week 4, wasn't ideal.
Shane, you talk about the ups and downs of being a quarterback. What do you say to people who might say, well, Daniel hasn't had a good season since 2022?
Well, I think that, he's proven that. I think the behind-the-scenes stuff that people don't see with Daniel Jones is his work ethic, the way he connects with his teammates, the operational stuff, like I said at the start of this thing, in the huddle, the communication, the checks, all that. And I think we got a good group around him. Overall, our football team, offensively, the weapons we have, that I feel that he can be successful in it.
Shane, in what ways do you feel like as a staff you didn't get Anthony to the line of scrimmage level that he needed to?
Well, I think, everyone's development's different, you know what I mean? And I think the injury was a big part of it, and then still keeping them engaged, that first year, and then obviously going through the second year was a part of it. And I think the injuries played a factor in it, but also still, I think Cam's done a really good job. I think Jim Bob's done a good job keeping them engaged. And again, like I go back to everyone's development's different in this process.
But is there any contradiction in saying that he does need that development, but also a lot of that development comes with playing?
Yeah.
Is there any contradiction there?
No, that's a great question. I think part of that is, you guys heard me say that, you get better by more reps. And I think, bringing Daniel Jones in, to the competition, it was an open competition. And, Daniel Jones is going to be our starting quarterback. So now he's in a different light, for the first time in his career to sit back and see Daniel Jones, but still prepare as if he's the starter, knowing that he's one play away.
You mentioned the injuries as hindering him. Isn't he still in the meetings? Isn't he still learning?
Yeah.
So I guess where's the growth now where he's back in the meetings again and he's not on the field?
Yeah. Well, I think you still got to get the mental reps in the meeting. day in and day out. I think that's part of the development. And then when you are on the scout team, I think you can still work on your fundamentals and your technique and going through it and going after the defense, on the scout team. I think that's all part of it.
Shane, the eyeball test, and also Carly, what she said to us about a month ago, says that you guys need to start winning, or Chris and I, not be around forever. So how much did that play a role in you going for Daniel right now?
Well, I think this league is year to year, and you got to do what you feel is best, for this football team. And I got a lot of confidence in the guys in that locker room. I got a lot of confidence in these coaches. We've been close, but I think the process is more important than the results, knowing that our daily habits and our discipline and our toughness will lead to that success. And so that's really where my focus is at.
Shane, I know you're the last one here for all of this, but ever since 2019, this team has brought in veteran quarterbacks that last less than a year, and then you're looking for the next one. I guess what would you say to fans who are wondering why this one will be different?
That's a great question. I can't answer that. I've been here for 2 years, but what I'll say is I like Daniel Jones and his ability and the consistency that I believe he can bring to this football team.
For me, my mindset was just to try to be as consistent as I could every day, make progress, and grow in my understanding of the offense and understanding of what coach wants and what he sees in this offense. So I tried to keep that my focus. That'll stay my focus going forward.
How good is it for you? Just for what was your reaction when Coach told you guys?
Obviously, I was excited. Excited for the opportunity, and as a competitor, you want to be on the field, and that's why you work. So I'm excited and looking forward to getting out there. I think we have a good football team, and we've put in a lot of work.
How good is it for you just to get some clarity now, knowing that you're the guy, you're going to get the reps? How much is it going to help you moving forward?
Yeah, I think it helps. But as far as my mindset or your preparation or what you're doing day to day, I don't think that changes all that much really. Obviously I'll be taking practice will change a little bit, but from my approach and my preparation, all that stuff stays the same, and try to be as consistent as I can with all that. So I'm fired up, I'm excited, and like I said, we've put in a lot of good work. I think we made a lot of progress, but we have a lot of kind of critical work looking forward in these next couple weeks to get ready.
Daniel, you came here for this opportunity. Why do you think this could be different than what we saw over the last couple of years with the Giants?
I think every situation is different. Every season's different. I'm growing and developing as a player constantly, and I think so a lot of things go into it. I think I'm prepared and will continue to work hard to prepare.
Not all players get a second chance this quickly after leaving another team. I guess, is there anything that maybe you learned from the first experience with the Giants that you plan to do a little differently, or ways that you've just grown to make sure you handle this as best you can?
Yeah, I think there's a number of things specific to on the field and fundamental things in scheme, and then there's stuff off the field too that you're constantly working and refining in your process, and always trying to learn and grow from it.
Daniel, what are you better at now than when you were in New York last year there?
I think you're growing in your understanding of scheme, of defense, of what teams are trying to do, decision making, understanding when you can get through reads and where the ball needs to go. I think my training and preparation off the field, in preparation for camp, and I made progress there physically and mechanically, footwork wise. I think there's a number of things that I've worked on to improve.
What's your relationship like with Shane as a play caller, like that communication like, and how do you see yourself succeeding in this offense?
Yeah, I think it's been great. I think we spent a lot of time, dating back to the spring in meetings, and he's been in our quarterback meetings. He's constantly communicating what he sees, what he expects from us in certain situations, how he plans on calling a game, things he's looking for defensively to attack, and I think I have a good understanding of what he expects and what he wants. So that will always be growing and evolving, as we spend more and more time together. But, I'd say right now I feel like I have a pretty good understanding of that.
Daniel, what was the last 48 hours like, I guess, since the Green Bay game ended? Did you think you would want it? What was the wait and see like until this point?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have a great idea, as far as, Shane's timeline and what he was planning on doing. But, I was, ready ready whenever, and obviously, just kind of going about my work as I normally do, reviewing the game and getting prepared for this week of practice. So, I wasn't, I didn't have any inside scoop on his timeline there.
You talked about the talent around here. How much does that excite you, knowing the type of guys you have on this offense as you get ready for week 1?
Yeah, I think it's exciting. I think, like I said, I think we've put in a lot of good work this training camp, and I think we've executed at a high level and made a lot of progress in that space. But the guys up front have played well all training camp. It's a strong group there, and then guys on the perimeter, receivers, tight ends, backs. I think there's a lot of guys who can make plays. So I'm excited to get out there with them.
Shane mentioned a lot of the operational things, the stuff that he looked at for you that kind of pushed you over the top in this quarterback competition. Why do you think you were able to, grasp that so quickly with a new offense?
I don't know. I mean, I think experience and time on the field, playing games and being out there, and then I think just preparation and spending time being prepared for practice, going over what you need to go over, going through certain situations in your head, and knowing what to expect when you get out there.
Daniel, one thing that Shane stressed a couple of times is you're not the quarterback for now. You're the quarterback for the season, and there won't be a short leash. Is it reassuring to know that he's got that level of trust in you?
Yeah, it certainly is. But I understand this league and how it works, and you've got to perform at a high level week in and week out, and that's certainly what I expect of myself, and I'll be expecting of all of us in this offense. I think we all have high expectations of what we can be.
Last one over here, Joel.
You had options in free agency to go other spots. Does this validate that you made the right choice?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was obviously a big piece of why I came here and to play, to be on the field, and to be with this group. I think it's a strong group of players, as I said, and a strong group of coaches. The system, I think there's a lot of things here to be excited about. So. I'm certainly happy I made the decision I did.
You just got to respect the decision. They feel like he's a better fit for the team, better fit for the outcome of us winning. So you just got to respect it and just keep working. That doesn't undermine any other work I've been putting in. Doesn't say that I haven't improved. I'm proud of the improvement I've made. Shane is also proud of that. So you just got to keep stacking on that and just keep getting better.
You say you respect it. Do you agree with it?
I mean, I got to agree with it. At the end of the day, whatever's best for the team, that's best for the team. If it was me, I'm pretty sure, he would be having to answer the same question. So at the end of the day, I respect it, and whatever's best for the team, whatever's going to get us that Super Bowl ring, I'm all for it.
You went through something somewhat similar last year. Last year you went through something somewhat similar. Is there anything you learned from how that went, or anything you do differently this year just to handle the opportunity or the setback?
Man, stay ready so you ain't got to get ready. One play away, although I'm not the starter, who's to say I won't get a shot or opportunity to go out there, and help the team win, So at the end of the day, that's the most important thing, being ready. And whenever the opportunity does come, I just got to, be ready for that and take advantage of it.
Did you think you did enough to win the job?
I don't know. Obviously not. I didn't get the job, but, it's not up to me to make that decision. They made the best decision for the team, and, I'm proud of that. I got to just keep my faith in the Lord. Proverbs 3, verse 5 and 6 says, trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not on your own understanding, And, that's what I'm doing. I'm trusting in the Lord, focusing on Him, and, appreciating everything that's thrown my way.
Would you have done anything differently throughout the QB battle, looking back on it now that you did get the outcome you wanted?
I don't know. My main focus was to, improve and grow. I feel like I've been doing that, but, I just got to keep doing that. The work I've been putting in, I feel like it's been showing, but, I just got to keep doing that. And like I said, when my opportunity on my numbers call, I got to be ready.
What are those areas? A lot of the operational stuff was the reason why he went with Daniel Jones. How do you think you can grow in that area, and how you assess just where you are right now with the operational stuff and kind of the behind-the-scenes stuff?
Just keep communicating with him, keep communicating with Coach Cam, and just, I guess, keep learning and keep growing.
Anthony, how much growth happens when you're actually playing versus not playing?
Growth is growth. You're gonna learn from what you learn from. Who's to say you'll get more, information while being out there on the field. People learn differently. You get different ways to go out there and experience different things, but you got to be willing to grow. And I'm willing to grow. I'm willing to learn. So I'm all for it.
Anthony, what was your reaction after your conversation with Shane and talking to him? What did you take away from it?
He made a decision. That's the decision we got to live with. No hard feelings. It's never personal. I just got to keep growing. I just can't let me not being a starter, stop me from growing and being the person and player that I'm supposed to be. So I just got to stay focused and keep grinding.
You mentioned your improvement. You have had those strides. Where do you identify the biggest strides that you've made, and then what are your priorities moving forward, and where you want to continue to improve and develop?
I feel like I've taken big steps in a lot of ways. My preparation, my knowledge of the offense, the intensity I put into working on my footwork and making sure I'm delivering the ball in the right spots, and making sure my mind is in the right spot so I can make the best decisions for the team. I just feel like I made a lot of growth, but there's still a lot of growth to be made. So I'm just working.
Do you have faith in your future with this franchise and the development plan they have for you going forward?
Man, I have faith in God and whatever He has in store for me. I'm trusting in Him. I can't really think about everything else, because if I do that, then I'm gonna put myself in a hole. So I just got to trust in the Lord, and I got to be where I am right now. And right now, I'm an Indianapolis Colts.
Shane, indicated to us, and Chris has indicated to us that no matter what happened here, you still had a future. Do you believe that the future here?
Yeah, I believe in them. They believe in me. Like I said, I just got to be ready for whenever the opportunity showcases itself. I can't put a timeline on it. They can't either. I just got to, whenever the opportunity is there, I got to take advantage of it. So, I appreciate every opportunity.
But after 2 years and 2 benchings, I guess, what gives you confidence that they do still believe in you?
Them telling me. They tell me they believe in me, and my teammates believe in me. So I got no choice but to listen to them and believe that. So they're telling me one thing, and I got to accept that, and I got to live with it. And I just got to showcase that I'm still here, and I got to keep growing.
You've been in a situation like this before. How do you take this moment here and try to use this motivation to know to be ready, because your name will be calling too?
Man, it's not just this moment, it's life. Everything doesn't always go your way, but that doesn't mean you got to stop living life. I'm still here, I'm still willing to work, I'm still willing to grow, and I'm still willing to be, a great quarterback in this league, So whatever God has in store for us and this team, I'm all for it, and I'm here 100%.
AR, do you want to stay here and be an Indianapolis Colt?
Man, I thank God for the opportunity, and like I said, I got to stay ready, be ready, so Lord's willing, if it's still here, I'm gonna take advantage of it, but I'm not looking to, get into going anywhere else or anything like that. Like I said, I'm here in the moment right now. I'm a Colt, and I enjoy being a Colt. So I'm excited to be here, and I'm excited for Daniel. He's going to do a great job leading the team. I talked to him earlier, man. Lead the team, lead the way. We following him, and wherever he takes us, that's where we're gonna go.
Hey, no disrespect to Daniel, but your teammates, a lot of them felt like you had the best camp you've ever had. That being said, how surprised were you to find out the news that you're not the QB?
I guess you could say somewhat surprised, but at the end of the day, we all knew somebody was going to have to be on this end of the stick, and it was me. I feel like I did improve. That's what I talked about earlier. My improvement was there, but it's still ways I can improve. It's still ways I can become a better player, become a starter in this league. So I feel like I did a decent job in improving, but there's still a lot more I can do. It's only about to be year 3. Shane already talked about me being 23 years old, so I still got more time. I still got more time to grow and be a great guy in this league. So I'm looking forward, and I'm thankful for every opportunity.
So it is decided. Daniel Jones will be the Indianapolis Colts starting quarterback in 2025. And obviously there was questions as to, the quarterback carousel continues here in Indianapolis. How many different starting quarterbacks since 2019 and Andrew Luck's retirement have there been? And Daniel Jones, not exactly successful during his tenure with the New York Giants, a losing record as a starter. The New York Giants aren't exactly one of the best teams in the National Football League, and they kind of told him to hit the road. So there's a lot of questions to be answered here. Shane Steichen has belief in Daniel Jones, and he also said, look, Anthony Richardson's future is not decided here in Indianapolis. We're not giving up on him, but Daniel Jones is the starter unless there's an injury or something unforeseen were to happen. So Anthony Richardson's, opportunities here in Indianapolis seem to be slimming, and a decision on his contract, whether to pick up his 5th year on his rookie contract is going to be coming next season as well.